Vikings prepare to take on the Lions with J.J. McCarthy back at the helm.
This is Fox 9 News at 9.
This tragedy is another reminder of how quickly gun violence can shatter lives.
Our top story tonight, a deadly Halloween weekend shooting in Dinkytown. And so far, no arrests. Thank you for joining us here. I'm Karen Scullen. Police say the shooting killed one person and injured two. The violence unfolding in Dinkytown, close to the University of Minnesota's campus. Fox 9's Leon Purvis spoke to students and has their reaction.
Students say this is a scary situation. Some of them were out and about for Halloween and heard the gunshots. Police are stepping up patrols as they continue to investigate how this unfolded.
It was scary. You know, we live just down the street and it feels like stuff like this happens now on a weekly basis.
Just before 3 Saturday morning, Minneapolis police responded to the intersection of 13th Avenue Southeast and 5th Street Southeast after hearing two bursts of fully automatic gunfire.
It was like 5 seconds of gunshots, the series of gunshots.
Two victims were located in the corner of the intersection, another in an alley behind Frank and Andrea's Pizza.
We were waiting for our Uber, and we went back, and in 3 minutes, this shooting happened, and we went back to catch another Uber, and 15 police cars here.
Police haven't identified the person who was dead, but say it was a teenage boy who doesn't have any connection to the university. Among the two injured, one of them a 17-year-old, the other a U of M student.
I don't really know exactly who was involved, but a little concerning that's people from the outside and not people that are directly on campus.
Both of the injured shooting victims went to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. This latest shooting is eerily similar to a shooting last year. It happened in Dinkytown near Frank and Andrea's around the same time on the same day. It started with an altercation and led to 3 gunshot victims.
This tragedy is another reminder of how quickly gun violence can shatter lives.
Police found 3 guns at the scene. One of them belonged to the teenager who died. And again, the suspect is still on the run. In Minneapolis, Leon Purvis, Fox 9.
All right, let's turn things to the weather and get a check of the forecast. This is a live look at Minneapolis on this first night of November. A bit chilly out there, but actually not too bad. Meteorologist Sean McAday joining us now to see how the rest of the weekend will shape up. I just stepped out for a little bit. Wasn't bad. Not windy.
It's fine. You know, it's an all right night. It's going to get even better, though, because most of the day was pretty dreary. It was cloudier. But then in the afternoon, right before sunset, we had some clearing in the metro. It's not going to last forever, but things are trending up. Here's why. Setting the stage across the country. Here's all the mess that we've been dealing with the past 24 hours. It's now well to our southeast. That was what we were dealing with yesterday at the rain for Halloween. But warmer air is behind this warm front well to our west. This is moving in for this week, especially by Monday. Monday, we're tracking highs almost at 60 degrees. The whole week, highs are in the 50s for most of the state of Minnesota and western Wisconsin. It's not until the weekend that we're going to start to catch some of this, some colder air pocketed way over there in the Pacific Northwest. It'll take some time to get to us. For now, instead, some clouds right now moving in towards the Twin Cities. There is a really slight cold front, actually, that's going to swing on through, and as it does so, an emphasis slight, it will actually squeeze out a raindrop late tomorrow. Temperatures right now 40 degrees. You're stepping outside in the metro. Further north, just above freezing. But like I said, we're tracking temperatures in the 50s through the week, and I'll climb you through that coming up.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Sean. Well, now we head to Washington, where the government shutdown continues. Today marked day 32. That puts us just 3 days away from tying or breaking the record for the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, which was 35 days. But amid the ongoing shutdown, there could be some relief for people worried about their SNAP benefits. 2 federal judges ruled the Trump administration must use billions of dollars in reserve funds to keep the nation's SNAP program running. Millions of Americans depend on the program for food. 440,000 of which are Minnesotans. The Trump administration has not yet said whether it will appeal those rulings. Well, despite the ruling, delays in food assistance are still possible, and as a result, food pantries and restaurants here in the Twin Cities continue to step up to fill the gap.
People are looking out for their neighbors. It's nearly 1 in 12 Minnesotans are impacted by the SNAP program. And so we've heard just amazing stories of people coming together and having food drives, bringing grocery bags to their local food shelves because they know that they need some, the very basics of bags, funding, food, all of those things. And so it makes me proud to be a Minnesotan that people are taking care of their neighbors.
We have compiled a list of resources across Minnesota for those in need. You can find it on our website. Just go to fox9.com. New developments in several cases Fox 9 has been following. Fox 9's Paul Bloom joined our Amy Hockert on Fox 9 All Day to break it all down for us.
Welcome back to All Day Live. We've got our Paul Bloom here, part of the investigative unit now, but also just really covers a lot of different things for us, including the court beat. You really have covered a lot of high-profile cases for us. So we thought it'd be a good idea to bring you in because there are some kind of developments in a couple of different areas, right?
Cases that I've been tracking.
That, but also because Tu Tao is going to be released this week. I know you covered that extensively and have been in contact with his attorney.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about this week and what we can expect.
Well, right, Tu Tao, the 4th officer in the murder of George Floyd there, Derek Chauvin, of course, still in federal prison. The 2 officers who were kneeling on Floyd at the time, Lang and King, they've both already been released from federal prison. And Tu Tao, if you recall during sentencing, one of the more senior officers, I remember Judge Cahill sort of admonishing Tao at the time that said clearly you didn't have as much culpability as Derek Chauvin did, but definitely more than the 2 rookie officers, Lane and King. Remember, they were just a couple days into their assignments with MPD at the time, and Tao never touched Floyd, but he held back bystanders from intervening.
Yeah, he was the one kind of between the bystanders.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was kind of defiant during sentencing, and I was there, and I remember that, and Judge Cahill said he had hoped for more remorse and sentenced him to the max at the time, even more than prosecutors were seeking. So 4 3/4 years, 57 months at the time. That sentence to run concurrently with what he was serving on the federal, civil rights violation as opposed to aiding and abetting the homicide. And but his time is now up, his behind bars time. So he gets out next week, Monday. He's at a federal prison down in Lexington, Kentucky. I don't know what happens to him next if he comes back here. I know he had strong family ties up here. Okay. We presume he's coming back here, but he will be done and have served his time, but will be on probation and then under supervision for another year plus. But he's getting out on Monday.
Okay. Also, I know you have an update on Hardell Sherrill's case, which you've been following years now.
7 years ago, he died in that jail up in Beltrami County, and then we were the first. I remember Delshia Perry, who became an advocate pursuing justice for her son. She came to the station. I did the first sort of in-depth interview, had the excruciating jailhouse surveillance video, which I think we have queued up. It's hard to watch, but it is important because this is what we are talking about when we talk about an inmate. He was in custody, minor offense here, struggling, basically, dying before the eyes of those who were caring for him. And, they kind of described it as they thought he was malingering, faking his ailments. And what would happen years later, the Attorney General, in conjunction with the county attorney up there in Beltrami County, ultimately filed criminal charges, manslaughter charges, negligence type charges against the nurse who was responsible for the medical care for all the patients up at the Beltrami County Jail. So her case is now working its way through the courts. And 2 interesting filings. I just want people, because we are now talking a lot, right, about jailhouse conditions, the rights of inmates, the negligence. How do you care for these people who are in your custody? 2 interesting filings. One, the defense just this week has filed a motion to dismiss. They said that there's not enough evidence that what this nurse did was enough to charge her with the manslaughter or the negligence. So that's interesting. The defense wants the case tossed out. Obviously, judge will have to decide. And then the other thing, from the other side, prosecutors have now tracked down a second case. Inmate didn't die, but in Anoka County, where this nurse was also responsible for care back in 2022, so several years ago now, but where they are arguing that at her negligence there. It was an inmate who was coming off a drug addiction, having withdrawals. Didn't get him the care he needed. He would fall out of bed and bang his head and suffer a traumatic brain injury. And they are seeking to admit that type of evidence in this case against her for Hardell Sherrill's death. So you have the defense moving to try to get this case tossed out. Meanwhile, you have the prosecution doubling down, looking into her background, finding other examples where they believe there was negligence, and they want the judge eventually, if this case goes to trial, to allow that evidence to come in to show a pattern of behavior against the nurse. But really, certainly, I don't want to call it unprecedented, but a unique case. You don't usually get a caregiver charged like this criminally with a manslaughter count. So that's going to be a big battle up in court. Obviously, that's Beltrami County, but a lot of eyes on that. And I know we talked about the Dakota County lawsuit with another kind of jailhouse situation where there are now allegations that police missed a stroke and that the guy would eventually die in their custody.
Very, very timely stuff that's happening here.
And you can watch Fox 9 all day from noon to 2 daily on both our website and our channel, Fox 9 as well. The Twin Cities' first independent dispensary is officially up and running. Legacy Cannabis opened their doors in Woodbury today. The focus is on craft cannabis, an organic small batch approach to the industry.
One of the things we were always pushing for was making a craft cannabis market in Minnesota. So you see a bunch of other states are dominated by the big cannabis corporations, big multi-state operators, but we fought to get craft cannabis in Minnesota. And so be able to open as a small Minnesotan, locally owned, it's just we're on that path towards a really cool craft cannabis market here in the state.
Legacy Cannabis also opened the state's first non-tribal dispensary in Duluth just last month. Dozens of disaster relief workers are on the ground in the Caribbean. A look at their efforts to help the hurricane-ravaged region. Next, plus a super moon is on the horizon. When you can see it, coming up.